Hi, everybody. I'm Pratibha Agarwal. I am an immigration attorney. I am based right outside of Washington, D.C. in Arlington, Virginia, but our clients are kind of all over the United States. And that's because immigration is considered a federal practice, and we can represent clients anywhere in the U.S. because I only practice immigration law. I don't practice anything other than immigration law. So today is an opportunity really for you to ask those one-off questions. So many times our clients call our office. Our phone number is on the screen here. If I don't know if you can see it on TikTok, but if you can't see it, we're at 703-348-1663. Again, that's 703-348-1663. And anyway, going back to what I'm doing here, I'm answering your question. So many times our clients call us and they just have one question here and there. And this is a really, really good opportunity for you to ask those one-off immigration questions. If you have a question about your pending case, if you have a question about a case that you think that you want to qualify for, or anything like that, this is a good opportunity for you to ask your immigration questions, essentially. My name, again, is Pratibha Agarwal. If you're just joining, I am an immigration attorney, and I only practice immigration law, U.S. immigration law, I should say. And I'm located outside of Washington, D.C., but our clients are all throughout the United States, and we can represent you no matter where you are located. My biggest fan is on. Hi, Yathin. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. And I was planning to actually hop on here way earlier today, you guys, way earlier, but the day really gets away from you, the day just gets away from you. But anyway, ask your questions here if you would like to get in depth into your case. If you want to find out your immigration options, I will go ahead. I would suggest scheduling a consultation because that's really the best way for me to dive deep into your case, to ask you the questions that I need to ask you, because what I can provide here is not exactly legal advice. If you want legal advice, you should schedule a consultation because that way I can get more information about your case and give you probably better advice than through this forum here. Okay. Again, my name is Pratibha Agarwal. You can reach my office at 703-348-1663. Are you asking me a question? Yathin is saying, hi, how are you doing? Is your daughter back in the photo? Are you talking about behind me, Yathin? Is that your question? All my kids are in the back there. If you're wondering, I have 3 kids. And they are 9, and I have twins that are 6 years old, which is keeps us very busy here. It keeps us very busy here in this house. And I'm surprised, to be honest, that they haven't crashed my lives. They haven't, jumped into my lives at any point yet. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Yes, that's my daughter. Those are a little bit older pictures, but I do have I guess I need to update my pictures. But yeah, those are all of my kids. I have a 9-year-old and 2 6-year-olds, and they're all in the back there. Yeah, they look like me, huh? All of them do, luckily. But anyway, all right. Okay, let me go ahead and answer your questions here. Hi, Artie. Hi, Anukshara. And if you are just joining me, I'm streaming live on both Facebook and on TikTok. So you can join me on either. The handle for both is at Agarwal Immigration. Okay, so the handle for both is at Agarwal Immigration. All right. Hi, Anukshara. I don't know. I might be getting your name wrong. Hi, Surinder. Hi, Jay. Hi, Mohammed. Hi, Patnabi. Someone is asking, I don't know your name, but they're asking, ma'am, I have an I-130 interview in 2018. Still now they haven't given me an answer. What do I need to do? This is really the question of the hour, right? So 2018, it's not too long. So I don't know if you filed an I-130 and an I-485. So if you filed an I-130, that normally is approved before you get an interview. So you won't get an interview if you just filed an I-130. So if you guys are wondering, an I-130 is for a green card. Okay, it's for a family-based green card application. And it's the same process for people in the United States. So if you're a green card holder or a U.S. citizen and you're sponsoring someone in the U.S., or if you're a green card holder or a U.S. citizen and you're sponsoring someone abroad, right? everybody files the I-130. That's the first step in filing the green card application. So what that does is really just two things, right? It doesn't give you any status, right? If somebody has an I-130 that's approved, that alone does not give anybody status to be present or authorized to be in the US. So the only thing that an I-130 does is really establish, one, that the person that's sponsoring is either a green card holder or a US citizen, and two, that the person that they are sponsoring is someone that they're allowed to sponsor. So for example, if I was sponsoring my husband, it shows I'm a US citizen, right? I have to prove that. And then we have to show that we're married, and it's not just for immigration purposes. So it's going to be documents like our marriage certificate, maybe our children's birth certificates, other things of that nature, our taxes, our home, our deed on our home, listing both of our names. So those kinds of things show that we're not married just for immigration purposes. So that is what an I-130 is. So once that's approved, it changes. So there's no interview with the I-130 for the most part. So I'm not sure what your question is. You won't get an interview for the I-130. Okay. Hi, Surinder. Let's see. Okay. So I hope I answered your question. Hi, Curious King. Hi, Theath. Hi, M. Tucker. Hi, Jasmine. Mohammed says, how much time does it take the USCIS to approve the I-360 application as a religious worker at that moment? So Mohammed, I think maybe you were on the other day and you were talking about the I-360 for a religious worker, right? So it takes some time. So the way you can tell, you can go online, you can check your case status based on where you filed. So I don't remember the office where you filed the I-360 for a religious worker. I believe it changes based on where the company is that sponsors. So figure it out. So look at your receipt notice for the I-360, look at where it's filed, what service center is processing it, and you can check common processing time. So put in I-360, put in the service center that is processing, and it will tell you. In my experience, it's taking more than 1.5 years, almost to 2 years, for the I-360 to be approved. So an I-360, you guys, is used for very, very different types of green cards. It's the petition for a green card. So many people qualify for a green card through kind of not a normal base. So not a normal way, like an employee, I don't want to say normal, but it's just not common, I guess. So an employment-based sponsorship or family-based are probably the most common ways to qualify. But an I-360 can be used for religious workers, so people that work for example, a temple or a church. They can qualify based on an I-360, based on their work as a religious leader, maybe a priest or the equivalent of a priest, or even people that kind of do admin work for these organizations can also qualify. It's a little harder to get them qualified, but there is a mechanism for them to qualify as well. So an I-360, that is what Mohammed is talking about. It takes over a year. I would even say it takes over 1.5 years. And just remember, that alone does not get you immigration status. So that is like that I-130 petition that I talked about a little bit ago. And I-360 alone, I mean, this is just for religious workers, right? I-360 is used for different types of things, but I-360 used for religious workers alone does not get anybody's status in the U.S. What you need to do after the I-360 is approved, you have to apply for a green card through the adjustment of status application or consular process it, meaning you have to apply for your green card abroad if you're located abroad. So it's a little bit complicated. If you're interested in finding out more about religious worker petitions, obviously give us a call. We can schedule a consultation. We can tell you the requirements and see if you might qualify or someone you know. Okay, so you can call us at 703-348-1663. We have a new person, well, someone that I haven't seen on here, VAWA Ratukana. Hi, they said hello on Facebook. Guys, I'm streaming on both Facebook and on TikTok, so feel free to put your questions on either. Follow me, like me on both, or my firm, I should say, not necessarily me. Putnaby says, can I drive with an international license when I'm undocumented? So driving is a completely state-based thing. So it's actually not an immigration thing. So I don't know. So it depends on where you live, and you have to look into what your state's rules are for driving. But many people do drive with an international license, but it's outside of immigration law. So I actually don't know the answer to that. And I think it will be dependent on your state where you live. All right. Surinder says, how are you, G? Thank you. I'm doing well. Surinder, thank you for joining. Majhawal says, I can't see your puppy. I don't believe my dog is here, who's not really a puppy. She's a little bit crazy. I don't know where she is. So she's not here. Maybe someday. Muhammad says, can I expedite my I-360 priority date is January 2nd, 2021. How much more time to approve? Okay. No, there's no way to expedite it. You're not going to I wouldn't even think about getting an approval until 2022. And you won't qualify for a green card if you don't maintain status the whole time between now and then. So you have to be in status to apply for a green card as well. So you have to keep that in mind. Okay. Religious visas are very, religious-based green cards can be complicated. You have to be aware of timing. I just spoke with an organization, a monastery that is based, I think, in Arizona or something, somewhere out west. I'm on the East Coast, so it doesn't stick in my mind exactly where they are, but they were out on closer to the West Coast. They were a monastery, and they had done an I-360 application, but they just were not able to manage the timing of it. And so the person that they're sponsoring has fallen out of status. So that's going to be problematic, and we have to look into how to fix it for them. So Mohammed, if you're not in status, remember the I-360 alone doesn't grant you any status. This is for religious workers, you guys. This is for religious workers. So you do need to take that into account. If you want to schedule a consultation, which you may benefit from, I would suggest giving us a call. We're at 703-348-1663. All right. There's a lot of questions today, you guys. Okay. All right. Hi, Shafi. Hi, Ishubabe. Hi, Coolthars. Hi, Diva. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Gary. Hi, Prabha Color. Hi, Roop. Wow, so many of you guys. Thanks so much for joining. Okay, so Surinder says, I have a 601A approval for my wife. She lives in the U.S. for more than 24 years. When will the U.S. Embassy open in India? So I don't know. We don't get the secret answers to when the embassies will open. Obviously in India, the virus situation is kind of out of control. I know a lot of embassies have closed. I don't know when it will open. We don't have any, additional information about when it will open. But if you have a 601A, so basically 601A is for people that, for example, if you entered illegally and you're married to a U.S. citizen or green card holder, you get a kind of a waiver of having an authorized entry. Right, so essentially, you can apply to be forgiven. I mean, sort of. I'm not using legal terms, but you're kind of applying that your illegal entry is forgiven, and that you can process your green card abroad and come back in, even though you have all of these days of unlawful presence. So normally, you would be barred from re-entry, but if you're going to process your green card in a particular way, all of your days of unlawful presence can be sort of forgiven. So that's what Surinder is talking about with the 601A approval with his spouse, right? So I don't know when the embassy is going to open, but Surinder, I'm going to tell you there are ways to process your green card. Even if you've had an illegal entry, you can still process your green card right here in the United States without having to leave, without having to process your waiver. Not everyone's going to qualify, but many people do qualify, right? This is based on a VAWA I-360 petition. So if you're married to a U.S. citizen or a green card holder and you've had an illegal entry, you don't necessarily always need to apply for a waiver. You may, in some instances, qualify to apply for your green card right here in the U.S. without having to leave. So once you apply, what happens is you get a work permit in about 6 to 8 months, and you get a green card in about 2 to 2.5 years. And this is all done without you having to leave, even if you've had an illegal entry, and even if, even if you've had all of these days of unlawful presence, right? But you have to be married to either a U.S. citizen or a green card holder. So I would suggest if you're in the situation, you should check to see if you are qualified. So give us a call. We can do a consultation and let you know if you can kind of forget about this waiver option and go with this other method. Because once you do a waiver, you do have a risk of not being able to enter. Right? So it's sometimes that's the only way to do it, but other times you want to check and make sure that you've kind of explored your other options as well. Okay, call us for a consultation. We're at 703-348-1663. Hi, Mitz. Mitz says, I have an H-1B 765 and travel documents. Okay, how long can I receive approximately? I don't know what you mean by H-1B 765 and travel documents, because an H-1B is a visa and you don't get an I-765 and you don't get travel documents through an H-1B, right? An H-1B is a work visa. So most private companies that want to hire people, foreign nationals, will sponsor an H-1B. It's generally like one of the most popular work visas for foreign nationals. And you have to have either a bachelor's degree or higher in a particular field. And you have to, and that position has to be one that requires at least a bachelor's degree or higher in that particular field. So if you don't qualify for an H-1B, or if you do get an H-1B, you don't need separate work authorization. H-1B is a work visa. So you don't need separate work authorization. You don't need separate travel authorizations. But if you have an H-1B, what you can do is come in and out of the country without, you don't need anything further to come in and out of the country. Your H-1B visa stamp will serve as your travel document, and it will serve as your work authorization. You are required to work with just that employer, however, right? If you move to a different employer, they will have to kind of transfer, that's the word that we use in our field, transfer your H-1B. It's not actually accurate because they have to file a new H-1B petition, but either way, they would have to transfer your H-1B. You won't have to go through the whole lottery though, okay? Hi, Mohammed. Mohammed says, California Service Center for the I-360. Okay, so go ahead and look it up. They just Google USCIS processing times, put in California Service Center, put in I-360, and you'll see. All right. Roop says, if we get a green card under VAWA, do we apply for citizenship in 3 years or 5 years if you're already divorced? So if you're married to a U.S. citizen, right? So many times you can qualify. It depends. It depends on who your spouse is and how you received it. So you can get, a lot of people can get their citizenship. They'll be eligible for citizenship in 3 years if they received a green card through VAWA. All right. Thank you, Gary, with your nice comments. Okay, let's see. Mohammed says, my religious work visa will expire if my I-360 is not approved. What will I do? I am in the U.S. Okay, so many people that apply for an I-360, so we're talking about religious visas, so we've talked about them kind of a lot today. Mohammed, I'm going to say you should probably schedule a consultation because you have a lot of questions here, and I hope that, there are questions that I would like to ask you as well. So call us for a consultation. We're at 703-348-1663. So you have to maintain status, right? You have to maintain status for the whole time. If you won't be able to adjust your status if you have more than 180 days of either being out of status or having unlawful presence. This is for work-based adjustment of status. So mostly employment-based sponsorship and even religious visas will qualify as something that you need basically to have the you can't have more than 180 days of either being out of status or having unlawful presence, right? So religious work will qualify in this category. So you would have to leave and you'd have to consular process your green card. Okay, so call us. We can definitely walk you through the process. Again, we're at 703-348-1663. The Simmering family said, how long does your family petition take? So it depends on, how you're getting sponsored. It can vary. Some of them can take 15 years. Some of them can take 1 year. So it just depends on who you're sponsoring, what's the status of the person that's the sponsorer, I guess. So you have to I don't know enough to tell you, but it can range. If you're a U.S. citizen sponsoring like a U.S. citizen spouse, it could be a year or so, a year and a half. But if you're, a U.S. citizen that's sponsoring a sibling, it might be 15 years, depending on which country the person that is being sponsored is from. Okay, call us if you want us to help you. We're at 703-348-1663. Mitz says it's almost 5 months. I don't remember your question, Mitz. Mohammed says, thank you so much. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Mitz says, how long do I have to wait for an EAD and travel documents? Mitz, I'm not sure if you were the one that asked about an H-1B. So you don't get EAD and travel documents with an H-1B, right? So H-1B itself is a work document. So it's a work authorization. You have to work for the company that sponsored you. And then you can travel with an H-1B. So if your visa is expired, you have to go to the embassy and get a visa stamp and come back in. But that's all based on the petition. It's all based on the petition that is filed for you by the company. All right. C. Musamar says, I'm a green card holder and my friend has a pending asylum case and he didn't get an I-94. Okay. Call us if we can help you. We're at 703-348-1663. And the Simmering family says, thank you. You're welcome. Hi, Cool Tars. Can I still file for his green card? Oh, okay. C. Musar says, let me read this together now that I have two points of information for you. She says, I'm a green card holder and my friend has a pending asylum case. He didn't get an I-94. Can I still file for his green card? You may be able to still file for his green card. So if not everyone is eligible, right? We may have to do a waiver for him and have him processed abroad. Or there are some cases where you can file, if you're a green card holder, you can file for someone who entered illegally, who doesn't have an I-94. You don't necessarily file for them. They can file for themselves if you're married and they qualify. So if they do qualify, what happens is they get a work permit in about 6 to 8 months and they get a green card in about 2 to 2.5 years. So basically these are for people that are married to green card holders that did not have a legal entry. In some instances, they may qualify to process their whole green card right here in the United States in spite of their illegal entry. So if you're in this situation, I would suggest calling our office for a consultation so we can screen you and let you know which process is going to work best for you. Do you need to leave the United States and come back in and get a green card that way? Or can you process that green card right here in the US, which would mean a work permit in about 6 to 8 months and a green card in about 2 to 2.5 years. All right. Call us for consultation, 703-348-1663. Thunder Dream says, can there be a chance of the VAWA case being denied after the notice of prima facie determination? Excuse me, guys. Yes, it can always be denied because the prima facie determination is like a pre-approval, right? So they may look into it. They may want more information. They may want more evidence. It just depends on the prima facie means that you just hit the basic requirements. They're going to look at it and make sure that you qualify. So they could ask for more information. And so depending on your response, depending on what your biometrics come out to, all of that could impact your VAWA application. So VAWA, for those of you that are unfamiliar, is for people who are married to a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, and they are a victim of abuse. Or it could be someone who is a parent of a child who is a U.S. citizen, 21 or over. So with VAWA, the bulk of the case is based on the person's declaration. So it's what the person that's applying for a green card, their declaration, right? So there's no police reports. Everything is kept confidential. And normally the person that would sponsor you, meaning either your U.S. citizen or green card holder spouse or your U.S. citizen child, is not required for the process. It's not at all required for the process. So people that apply for a green card through this method, through a self-petition, you apply on your own without your spouse, you apply on your own without your child, you apply for it, and you get a work permit in usually 6 to 8 months, and you get a green card in about 2 to 2.5 years. All right, so Thunder Dreams is asking, can my VAWA be denied after a prima facie determination? So once you apply for this in about 2 to 3 months, what happens is you get kind of a pre-approval. and you're protected. When you apply for this, you get a pre-approval and you're protected, meaning you won't be deported until your full application is adjudicated. Obviously, if you murder someone, you're going to get deported. So don't do that. But normal things, you won't be deported. Okay, even if you've had an illegal entry, if you're out of status, that this will protect you once you get that determination. But that determination alone doesn't mean that you're going to get approved. You have to wait till immigration reviews your full application. And that may result in a different decision, right? So if you have questions, if you're interested in filing a case like this, give us a call. We're at 703-348-1663. Mitt says, I have an H-1 visa. Okay, that means you don't need an EAD or travel document, Mitts. Cerber Ricky says, hi, my friend, you don't read my message yet. Oh, Cerber, did I miss your message? Sorry, my friend. Let's see. Diva says, please give me an answer. I'm waiting. I thought I went through all the questions. I'm sorry, guys. Diva says, I have an interview, so I need an interpreter. Something about Gujarati to English. Yeah, so you might be able to take an interpreter with you. It depends on the type of interview. Okay, but some green card interviews, you can take an interpreter with you. Mitt says, we applied for a green card for an H1 and my biometrics was done. How long do I have to wait? Oh, okay. So you have a separate green card application. So usually you get work authorization about 6 to 8 months after you apply. So that's your normal time frame. Okay. All right, Diva Queen, I think I answered your question. I think I answered everybody's question. Cerber saying I didn't read his, but I don't know where yours is. I think it's lost in here somewhere. So put it in again or join me tomorrow. Oh, over here I see. How long after filing do you get a receipt notice? Oh, okay. All right, I see it now. How long after filing do you get a receipt notice? Usually about a month, but sometimes it takes a little bit longer, like 6 weeks or so. All right, guys. Okay, well, I'm so happy to be able to answer your questions. Give us a call if we can help you with your immigration case. We handle all types of immigration questions. We handle all types of immigration cases, family-based, employment-based, humanitarian. Give me a call if we can help you. We're at 703-348-1663. My name again is Pratibha Agarwal, and those are, I do the consultations for everybody. Cerber says, thanks, you're welcome. All right, I hope you guys have a good afternoon. I will talk to you soon. Bye.